You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis. Welcome to the show, Mish.
Hey, here we are, and we're 5 days or 7 days, maybe 2 weeks past midnight, right?
For Greece.
How many last chances does Greece get, or does Greece give the EU? I think those are the questions. Meanwhile, Merkel is still saying there's not much grounds for agreement, but everyone met today, and France came out, the IMF came out, and the U.S. Treasury Secretary Lou came out over the last 2 days and said, give Greece some debt relief. Meanwhile, German Finance Minister Schwabel said, well, there's not much room for that. But meanwhile, here we are, as Greek Prime Minister Tsipras is said to be rushing an austerity package through the Greek Parliament, and supposedly that package contains what Schwabel wanted, which is an increase in VAT and reduced pensions. Will that be enough to satisfy the Greek left hardliners? And what will Greece ask for in return? And can Germany agree with that? That's what we're down to here right now.
Well, of course, there's technically no borders between these countries. What would happen in Germany if all the Greek pensioners decided to move there?
Well, I think they could move there, but would they collect any pensions? The pensions are owed by Greece, so I'm not sure that would do anyone any good. The real issue here, though, is one way or another Germany is going to pay, and the question is, how do they pay? If Greece were to default right now and walk away, assuming Brexit occurred, all the collateral sitting with the ECB, it would be immediately deemed worthless. Germany's share of Greek liabilities, over or near 300 billion euros, amounts to about $90 billion. France about 70 billion, Italy about 60, and Spain about 40 billion. Where's Spain going to get 40 billion euros? So those are the questions. And so far Germany has been playing hardball, but right now we're seeing France and some of the other countries saying, wait a minute, there's costs associated for Europe with the Grexit too. So we'll see. Now, from my point of view, Greece really needs to default, get on with life, not just default on some of this stuff, not pretend on it, but just default on the whole piece. Institute reforms and get on with life. The problem is those are the very same reforms that Greece really doesn't want to do. They need free market reforms. They need to make it easier for companies to hire and fire workers. They need to make it easier for companies to do business. It takes years for someone to set up a company in Greece, that it's actually easier to set up a company anywhere in the United States, even in Illinois, than Greece. So there's lots of room for real reform, and it's those real reforms, not tax hikes, that's going to make or break whether Greece really survives and how much pain they feel and for how long.
What about this $2 billion natural gas deal with Russia? How does this work in there?
Well, it works in that that's a signal to the EU and the Eurozone that, hey, you don't deal with me, I'm going to deal with Russia. And, the big fear there from the United States, which is why Treasury Secretary Jack Lew got into it, is if Greece turns to Russia, more than likely Greece will end the sanctions against Russia, which I think is a smart thing to do anyway, but it's nothing the U.S. wants, nothing the EU wants. But sanction rules in the EU are such that every country has to agree or they don't happen. So Greece alone can torpedo sanctions on Russia, and I think they will do that if they're forced out of the Eurozone. That's one big bargaining chip that Greece has with Russia, and they can get some temporary funds from Russia, and we're seeing it right now. Part of that is this threat today saying, look, they're dangling this thing right in Europe's the European finance ministers' noses. Look, we've got this deal with Russia. If you don't at least bend somewhat, and there's more deals with Russia to come. I think that was the message today, and I think that's why we're starting to see France and some other countries say, you know what, maybe we should reconsider our hardline stance. Will Merkel go along? Will the German Parliament go along? I don't know. Will the Greek Parliament go along with what Tsipras wants? I don't know that either.
Well, is there any chance that if Greek exits the Eurozone that it would quit NATO and go solidly into the Russian sphere of influence?
I don't think so. I don't think they would do that. But they certainly could deny U.S. access to bases in Greece, and Greece is situated right there in the Mediterranean Sea. That's right there. Its bases are in the hotbed of what could be used to attack ISIS and some the countries over there, Syria, Iran, whatever. So the U.S. would not want to lose that either, and certainly that is part of the message here, I believe, that Greece is threatening everyone with. So, but from my point of view, it's easier to just default on all these debts than to do another round of extend and pretend that these things can be paid back. Of course, if they extend forever and say, Greece doesn't have to, pay these debts back for 100 years, the value of those debts in 100 years are effectively, writing off this. But a second problem here is it's not just the existing 300 billion, Jim. It's Greece needs another 50, 60, 80 billion euros or so to keep afloat in the interim. Is the German Parliament going to agree to give Greece another 60 billion euros? I don't know. Would the rest of Europe be willing to give Greece another 60 billion euros? Mind you, it's not really giving Greece that money. It's giving Greece money so that they can pay back existing loans. 77% of the money that's gone to Greece has gone straight back to the banks. So Greece has undertaken about 300 billion euros worth of debt, of which close to 80% is nothing more than Greece paying back the Troika.
So in other words, Germany could just pay off their bankers right there, pay them 80% on the dollar.
Well, they already did.
Okay.
That's what happened. Greece, there was no bailout of Greece. Greece, by taking this alleged bailout money, actually bailed out the German and French banks. That's exactly what happened. That's what Greece is upset against. And Greece actually has a reason to be rankled, when Merkel says this was a very, very generous offer to the Greeks. It wasn't a generous offer to the Greeks. Greece bailed out German and French banks that made stupid loans to Greece. That's really what happened.
We'll have more with Mish Shedlock right after this.
More and more people are looking to the internet for intelligent, riveting, and thought-provoking interviews. To advertise on The Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com, call 604-699-8600, 604-699-8600.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mish Shedlock. Something kind of interesting. The Swiss mail system is experimenting with drones.
Oh, yeah. You got to love that, right? I commented on that actually almost 2 years ago, I think, where Amazon and Google were looking at drone delivery of pizza, and people said it would never happen. And I keep getting emails from people saying that autonomous cars are not going to happen. Well, this technology is just marching so fast that this stuff's going to be happening and in place before anyone even realizes it. Yeah, the Swiss government, the Swiss postal system, is actually testing practical tests for drone delivery right now. Now, they cautioned this won't be commercially available for 5 years. Okay, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 4. But these kinds of things are without a doubt coming. And instead of needing a pizza delivery driver, your pizza is going to be delivered by drone. Your Chinese takeout will be delivered by drone. So actually, I think autonomous trucks will happen. Before that, there's lots of issues with air flight, drones crashing into each other. What happens if they crash into a car? All of that kind of stuff, or drop a pizza on a car. There's lots of issues there that I think there's restricted fly zones. They're not going to want drones carrying pizzas flying around Washington D.C. close to the Capitol building anyway. But all of these issues, every one of them, are going to be sorted out over time. I think the first issues to be sorted out will come with cars and trucks. And Uber is actually looking to purchase 500,000 self-driving vehicles. So all these complaints, people have been complaining against Uber that the drivers aren't licensed, that the drivers are doing this, that to the customers are attacking drivers, whatever. All those issues go away as soon as there's no drivers. And that's what we're going to come to. And it's going to come to commercial vehicles first, the trucks, the taxis, the buses. We're going to see self-driving in all of those, and I think within 5 years we're going to start to see a trickle of those, and probably within 7 years we're going to see a mass trend towards those. Whole lots of implications for that for the insurance industry.
Mish, thank you very much for chatting with us.
Pleasure to be on.
My guest has been Mike Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Comments about the show can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.